Dust drifted through the projector beam. Rows of velvet seats faded into the darkness beyond. The theater carried a silence older than any song. She stood beneath the spotlight with sorrow in her eyes, like somebody carrying memories too heavy to disguise. The piano rolled softly across the wooden stage, and every trembling harmony sounded older than age. The balcony disappeared into shadow. The curtain barely moved. The room felt suspended somewhere between memory and truth. The night she sang to an empty theater, the silence filled the room. The night she sang to an empty theater, like sorrow learned to bloom. Too much soul, too much flame. The night she sang to an empty theater, nothing survived the same. Empty seats, heavy air, still her voice remained there. The projector painted ghosts across the drifting dust. The old red chairs held stories too fragile to discuss. Every note climbed upward toward the darkened dome, and every fragile harmony made the theater feel like home. Spotlight stayed unwavering against the fading gold, as if the room itself refused to grow old. Maybe empty theaters listen better than crowded rooms. Maybe certain songs need silence before they can bloom. Maybe forgotten stages never truly let go. Maybe the room stayed breathing because her voice stayed below. The night she sang to an empty theater, even after dawn came near. The night she sang to an empty theater, the walls still held her tears. Too much truth, too much pain. The night she sang to an empty theater, nothing survived the same. Dust drifted through the projector beam. The first row sat beneath the spotlight. Mm. Red velvet stretched before her like a sea without a shore. Every empty chair seemed older than the night before. She stood beneath the spotlight with midnight in her eyes, like somebody carrying heartbreak too deep to disguise. The piano rolled softly across the silent stage, and every trembling harmony sounded trapped inside an age. The balcony watched in silence. The curtain held its place. The theater felt suspended between memory and grace. The front row stayed empty, but the room was full of pain. The front row stayed empty, still she sang through the rain. Too much soul, too much flame. The front row stayed empty, nothing survived the same. Empty chairs, golden light, still her voice, fill the night. The projector hummed softly through dust and fading gold, like an old forgotten picture still waiting to be told. The spotlight traced the floorboards with a patient amber glow, and every note she carried reached places no one knows. The balcony held shadows high above the room, while every fragile harmony made the darkness bloom. Maybe empty seats remember every story left behind. Maybe old theaters keep pieces of every restless mind. Maybe certain songs grow stronger without applause to chase. Maybe the first row stayed empty to give sorrow its space. The front row stayed empty, even after dawn arrived. Ooh, the front row stayed empty, but the room stayed alive. Too much truth, too much rain. The front row stayed empty, nothing survived the same. The first row sat beneath the spotlight. The first row sat beneath the spotlight. The beam never left the screen. light stretched forward through dust and fading gold, across the empty theater and stories left untold. She stood beneath the spotlight with sorrow in her eyes, like somebody carrying memories too painful to disguise. The piano rolled softly across the aging stage, and every trembling harmony sounded trapped inside an age. The curtain stayed half open, the balcony disappeared from sight. The room felt suspended inside the projector light. The projector kept running long after the song was through. The projector kept running like it still remembered you. Too much soul, too much soul, too much flame, too much flame. The projector kept running, nothing survived the same. Stay low, stay near the old ghosts, gather here. The dust moves slowly upward through the silver beam, like fragments of forgotten years returning in a dream. The red velvet seats remain beneath the amber glow, and every note she carried reached places no one knows. The spotlight traced the floorboards with patient golden lines, while every fragile harmony escaped the hands of time. Maybe old projectors remember every face they've seen. Maybe soul survives forever inside a silver screen. Maybe certain songs keep playing long after they should end. Maybe the beam stayed alive because heartbreak needed a friend. The projector kept running even after dawn arrived. The projector kept running like the room stayed alive. Too much truth, too much truth, too much rain, too much rain. The projector kept running, nothing survived the same. The beam never left the screen. The balcony stayed awake all night. High above the velvet rose, a darkness watched below. theater carried every note, the way rivers carry snow. She stood beneath the spotlight with midnight in her eyes, like somebody carrying heartbreak too deep to disguise. The piano rolls softly across the aging stage, and every trembling harmony sounded older than age. The curtain held its silence, the dust remained suspended there. The room felt like a photograph, still breathing ancient air. The balcony heard everything, every word she tried to hide. The balcony heard everything, every tear she kept inside. Too much soul, too much flame. The balcony heard everything. Nothing survived the same. Stay still, stay near. The old echoes gather here. The projector painted silver across the drifting dust, like memories returning because they felt they must. The red velvet below her seemed deeper than before, and every note she carried reached the highest part of the room. The spotlight stayed unwavering against the fading gold, while every fragile harmony made forgotten stories unfold. Maybe old balconies remember every voice they've ever known. Maybe soul survives forever when sorrow stands alone. Maybe certain songs keep rising long after they are gone. Maybe the balcony stayed listening because her voice stayed strong. The balcony heard everything, even after dawn arrived. The balcony heard everything, like the room stayed alive. Too much truth, too much rain. The balcony heard everything. Nothing survived the same. The balcony stayed awake all night. The curtain remained exactly where it was. beneath the amber glow, like they had been waiting decades for a voice they used to know. She stood beneath the spotlight with sorrow in her eyes, like somebody carrying memories too painful to disguise. The piano rolls softly across the wooden floor, and every trembling harmony made the silence ask for more. The projector painted silver across the drifting dust. The theater felt suspended between memory and trust. The curtain never closed after she sang that song. The curtain never closed, like the night wanted more. Too much soul, too much soul, too much flame, too much flame. The curtain never closed. Nothing survived the same. Stay low, stay near. The endings living here. The red velvet seats waited beneath the fading light, like witnesses protecting every secret of the night. The spotlight traced the stage boards in patient lines of gold, and every note she carried made forgotten stories unfold. The balcony watched quietly, balcony watched quietly above the empty room, above the empty room, while every fragile harmony made the darkness bloom. Maybe certain performances never truly end. Maybe soul survives forever when heartbreak won't pretend. Maybe old curtains stay open for songs too real to hide. Maybe the stage refused the ending because the feeling survived. The curtain never closed, even after dawn arrived. The curtain never closed, like the room stayed alive. Too much truth, too much truth, too much rain, too much rain, too much rain. The curtain never closed. Nothing survived the same. The curtain remained exactly where it was. The spotlight arrived before the music. A column of amber light fell across the empty stage, while thousands of drifting particles moved like fragments of an age. She stood beneath the spotlight with midnight in her eyes, like somebody carrying heartbreak too deep to disguise. The piano rolled softly across the wooden floor, and every trembling harmony made the silence ask for more. The projector painted silver across the fading gold. The theater felt suspended between the young and old. The dust danced in the spotlight while she sang that line. The dust danced in the spotlight like it understood the time. Too much soul, too much rain. The dust danced in the spotlight. Nothing survived the same. Stay still, stay near. The audience gather here. The balcony disappeared into layers of shadow and air, while the red velvet below held stories everywhere. The spotlight traced her silhouette against the stage behind, and every note she carried seemed to loosen time. The curtain stood unmoving above the silent room, while every fragile harmony made forgotten memories bloom. Maybe dust remembers every song that's ever played. Maybe soul survives forever inside things left unmade. Maybe certain voices linger long after they are gone. Maybe the light kept dancing because her voice stayed strong. The dust danced in the spotlight even after dawn arrived. The dust danced in the spotlight like the room stayed alive. Too much truth, too much rain. The dust danced in the spotlight. Nothing survived the same. The spotlight arrived before the music. Mm. 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 The roads felt different after midnight. Red velvet stretched endlessly beneath the fading gold. like 1,000 forgotten evenings, still refusing to grow old. She stood beneath the spotlight with sorrow in her eyes, like somebody carried memories too painful to disguise. The piano rolled softly across the hollow stage, and every trembling harmony sounded trapped inside an age. The projector painted silver across the drifting air. The theater felt awakened by something standing there. The empty seats started looking back when she sang that song. The empty seats started looking back like they waited all along. Too much soul, too much flame. The empty seats started looking back. Nothing survived the same. Stay still, stay near. The old years gathered here. The balcony disappeared in the shadows overhead, while the spotlight drew soft circles where forgotten footsteps led. The curtain held the darkness at the edge of amber light, and every note she carried made the room feel more alive. The projector beam drifted through floating dust and gold, like fragments of old stories still waiting to be told. Maybe empty seats remember every face they've ever known. Maybe old theaters keep pieces of every soul that's gone. Maybe certain songs awaken what silence leaves behind. Maybe the seats look back because they recognized her mind. The empty seats started looking back even after dawn arrived. The empty seats started looking back like the room stayed alive. Too much truth, too much rain. The empty seats started looking back. Nothing survived the same. The roads felt different after midnight. The lights refused to leave the stage. A remained across the empty floor, as if the room still expected one final song and more. She stood beneath the spotlight with midnight in her eyes, like somebody carrying memories too painful to disguise. The piano rolls softly across the wooden stage, and every trembling harmony escaped the hands of age. The projector beam grew thinner, the darkness shifted slowly back, but the theater held its breath as the night slipped through the cracks. The theater stayed awake till dawn, long after she was gone. The theater stayed awake till dawn, like the room was holding on. Too much soul, too much flame. The theater stayed awake till dawn. Nothing survived the same. Stay low, stay near. Her voice still lingers here. The balcony watched quietly above the fading gold, while rows of crimson velvet guarded stories left untold. The curtain stood half open at the edge of morning light, and every note she carried still wandered through the night. The projector lost its brightness, but never lost the beam, as if the room itself refused to leave the dream. Maybe your theaters remember every soul that stood alone. Maybe music survives forever inside forgotten homes. Maybe certain songs stay living long after they're gone. Maybe the room stayed awake because she sang until dawn. The theater stayed awake till dawn, even after morning came. The theater stayed awake till dawn, still whispering her name. Too much truth, too much rain. The theater stayed awake till dawn. Nothing survived the same. The lights refused to leave the stage.